If you tuned into my most recent video, then you know that my current infatuation with the black pill has made a lot of people angry. People were so angry that YouTube even took the video down for a night. But don't worry, if you haven't seen it yet, it's back up now. In the comment section of my last video, there was also a lot of toxicity being spread. So that's why I think that YouTube disabled the comments as well on that video. You can watch it, but you won't be able to comment on it. I wouldn't be surprised if this video also angers a lot of people, but truly, that is not my intent. Hope you can believe me when I say that I took every malicious, negative, or even positive comment as constructive criticism so that I can ensure that this video is even better than the last. The purpose of this video is to educate, empathize, and even give hope to anybody who is struggling with Doomerism. And without any further ado, let's start the video. Introducing the Doomer. The Doomer is a meme that is commonly used to portray a young man in his early 20s. He's designed to be sad, depressed, and hopeless. Doomer is a play on the word boomer. And while this meme does tend to resonate with mostly young, college-aged men, Doomerism is a mindset that anyone can have. To be clear, Doomer is the person, while Doomerism is the mindset. And the Doomer meme is a way for people who resonate with the feeling of Doomerism to express themselves. Who is the Doomer, and why is Doomerism a thing? A huge reason that Doomerism has become so prevalent is because life overall has become increasingly more expensive, and current wages haven't done much to reflect this spike in the cost of living. Individuals are spending boatloads of money in the pursuit of higher education, just to find out later down the line that their degree isn't worth nearly as much as they thought it would be. On top of that, these graduates are entering the workforce already drowning in heaps of student loan debt. Another cause of Doomerism is the fact that so many people these days hate their jobs. Let's be honest, when was the last time you heard somebody say that they love their job? Not like, not tolerate, but love their job. People want to work jobs that grant them a feeling of control over their own destiny. I'm sure plenty of people can relate to me when I say this, but when I work a job, I desire to feel wanted and needed, as though I belong. Nobody wants to feel like a replaceable robot that could be easily thrown to the curb and be replaced with another hopeless, mindless robot who's willing to slave away for pennies on the dollar. It's no wonder that more and more people want to start their own business so that they can be their own boss. One thing that I don't want to do is promote a negative, one-size-fits-all definition for the word doomer. But as we all know, there usually is a little bit of truth to every stereotype. For the sake of educating the masses, I'm actually going to give you several definitions, starting with the stereotypical doomer. Stereotypical doomer is usually depicted as someone who's a basement dweller, who spend a lot of time learning survival skills and sharing conspiracy theories as they prepare for the collapse of the economy, an apocalypse, climate change, or any other type of social collapse. This stereotypical definition is most likely coined by people who haven't actually spent very much time interacting with doomers. I say this because it's very easy to add a negative connotation to a group when you haven't actually spent time hearing them out or taking a walk in their shoes. This stereotype is obviously very extreme and cannot be applied to everyone who labels themselves or has been labeled by society as a doomer. This brings us to the next type of doomer. One could say that this is the tier 1 doomer, but I personally like to coin this term as the everyday doomer. The everyday doomer is your average Joe who may be struggling with a pinch of pessimism and negativity as they take their walk through life. Although the doomer meme is usually portrayed as a young man, I'd like to argue that anyone and everyone can suffer from a little bit of doomerism. A great example of the everyday doomer would be the 26-year-old employee at your favorite fast food restaurant who's been working there for several years. They've realized that working for 40 hours a week on minimum wage is barely enough to pay all their bills, not to talk about purchasing the car of your dreams or even renting an apartment with no roommates. They've been listening to motivational videos, and they've even saved a few untapped side hustles on TikTok that are guaranteed to change their life and even allow them to earn $10K a month after tax. Obviously, the everyday doomer has a good head on their shoulders. They're working a full-time job, they're listening to people who motivate and inspire them to do more in life, and they're even working on their body and doing their best to earn more money on the side. But they keep hitting dead ends. None of the side hustles work. All the motivational speakers either want you to work until you pass out or buy their BS course. And the harder you work, the more that all this hard work seems futile. Each and every day, the will to keep going appears exceedingly pointless. Tier 2, the realistic doomer. This next type of doomer is what I've coined as the realistic doomer. This doomer is similar to the everyday doomer because just like the everyday doomer, the realistic doomer could be anyone. The realistic doomer is very logical and very rational. Every single decision that they make is based on critical thinking and thorough research. Now, this is the realistic part of the term realistic doomer. So what exactly makes them a doomer? What makes them a doomer is their cynical and pessimistic view on life. Let me explain. The main issue with being the realistic doomer is the fact that they've lost a lot of hope. A lot of people, whether it be adolescents or adults, are losing their optimism for the future. Within all of us, there's a bit of childlike optimism that is continuously dulled by the harsh reality of life. When you were young, you wanted to be an astronaut or a football player or a neurosurgeon. What happened? You have a whole lifetime to chase and live out your dreams. Why give up now? Become the person that younger you would be proud of. A pinch of delusion is all it takes. The odds may not be in your favor, but truth be told, the odds aren't in anyone's favor. Tier 3, the why even try doomer. This type of doomer is essentially the final boss. They're the doomer of all doomers. This is the person who is absolutely sick of life. They have very little to no trust in the government. They probably aren't vaccinated, and they use buzzwords like pandemic or deep state. They've been down all of the conspiracy theory rabbit holes, from Jeffrey Epstein to election fraud to Hollywood. They've consumed so much of this content to the point that their brain is completely rewired. These are the types of people who bought all the toilet paper and began digging underground bunkers that are apocalypse proof. The pros to being this type of person is that 1, they're not always wrong. For example, there are PDF files in Hollywood. Not all, but surely a few. These little bits of truth are enough to give fuel to more extreme conspiracies. Another pro is that if the world does go downhill, then at least a few people will be ready. The biggest con is that you'll become a social outcast. According to Wikipedia, the doomer archetype is often portrayed as being anxious about the end of the world. The doomer meme usually showcases young men who have given up on pursuing both friendly and romantic relationships, and they also get little to no joy from anything because they view everything as futile if the world is going to end. To all the doomers watching right now, do you think these are accurate portrayals of different types of doomers? And for the people that aren't doomers, do you know anybody who's a doomer? What keeps doomers up at night? Climate change is something that a lot of people in Gen Z are anxious about. We've all seen the clips of forests burning, animals choking, and the plastic in the ocean. Sometimes I look into the climate change news and all I can think is, we're cooked. I worry about future generations because I know it's already pretty bad. While the future doesn't look great, there's still hope. For example, remember that big fat gaping hole in the ozone layer? It's being repaired and slowly closing up. The hole in the ozone closes and opens at different times of the year. But what's important is that it's getting better. The United States has gone from 530 active coal power plants to just 191. This is great news because coal lets off the most carbon dioxide per unit of energy. And as you know, excess carbon dioxide is what created that hole in the ozone. More and more cities around the world are using sustainable practices, green building initiatives, improved public transportation, urban agriculture, solar panels, and even renewable energy. Modern businesses are also adopting environmentally friendly practices as well as setting sustainability goals. Not just businesses, but even individuals are making changes in their life to reduce their carbon footprint. All of this is exceedingly positive news, but more work still needs to be done in order to effectively address the issue of climate change. Keep in mind that in the world of news, a positive headline doesn't get nearly as much attention as a negative headline. By focusing on positive advancements, we can stay motivated to continue working towards a sustainable future. Contrary to popular belief, the doomer isn't just a person who's rejected every social construct and chooses to moderate discords as they dwell in their basements and watch isekai. The doomer is someone who's looked at the cards that life has dealt them and come to the conclusion that life just isn't fair. Now, this is something that we all intrinsically know, but doomers seem to have found this out in the hardest way possible. The fact of the matter is, you're exactly right. Life isn't fair. But my question to you is, what will you do about it? Worrying about things you can't control will only lead to more worry. Try to compromise. If you can't make the NBA like the other 99.9% of people in the world, then join a rec league, hit your local park, and hoop with randoms. If you can't live up to your judgmental parents' expectations, then don't even try. It's your life. Live it how you want. And I guarantee that you don't want to live your life being terrified of the future or your imagination. And you shouldn't be, because neither the future or your imagination actually exists. They're just thoughts that you're putting too much power into. Go try something new. Make a bucket list and chase your dreams. If you aim for the stars but only make it to the moon, that's still a lot farther than you would have ever made it sheltering yourself from something that doesn't exist.